In this video, I'm going to be going over every single creature that's gotten a TLC update in Arc. If you don't know what a TLC update is, it's basically where they revamp a creature, giving it a brand new model, and adding a bunch of new abilities to it. The first one is the most iconic creature in the game, and this is the T-Rex. T-Rex did have a TLC update, and it revamped the model, making it look a lot better, and it was given the new roar ability. Now, it had a roar before, but now it has like a huge particle effects when it roars, and it looks way cooler, as well as it makes dinos and people poop, like I guess out of being scared of them. I don't know, that's about all the abilities they added to it, though. They didn't add too much, but I think that's a good thing. It's good to keep the Rex nice and simple. Next we have the Procoptodon, or the giant kangaroo. This one definitely had a improvement in the face area, because before it looked pretty derpy. Its new abilities is it had a giant jump. I'm pretty sure it could jump pretty high before, but now it can do like a super really high jump. As well as you can keep baby dinos in its pouch, and then it will like keep them in there, and you can move them around, which is nice, especially on Ark Survival Ascended now that that's out, because there's those baby dinos around, and you can move around the baby dinos you tame in the wild. So the Procoptodon is actually more useful in Ark Survival Ascended. Next we have the Gigantopithecus. Now once you look at the comparison, the face on the old one definitely looks super derpy, even more than the Procoptodon, I would say. So this one got quite the improvement. It had a few new abilities. One is it can climb on zip lines, but zip lines aren't in Ark Survival Ascended, which is what I'm recording this in, so you can't really see that ability in the Ark Survival Ascended. But it also has the ability to throw people now, which is really fun to mess around with. You can just throw yourself right off the back of it, which is definitely a fun and unique addition to it. Next we have the Dire Bear, which is a very powerful creature and definitely a fun one. And this one had the TLC update, and the model definitely looks a lot better, and I think it looks a lot more like fierce and more intimidating, because before it didn't look as intimidating, but now after the TLC update it definitely looks a lot better in that department. As well as it had a new ability to harvest beehives, as you can see right here. It basically got like double the honey from what a regular beehive would have. Now when the Dire Bear was originally added, beehives weren't in the game, so obviously it didn't have that ability, but they added the TLC update after the bees were added, so they added that ability as well. And then we have the Direwolf, which I think the new Direwolf definitely looks way better, and I really like the new model. The old one definitely looks weird looking back on it, but this one did get some new abilities as well. The main one is it can basically like sniff out stuff and see its health bars on the wild creatures, so you can see if it's about to die based on like the health there. Which, I mean, you can also see if it's bloody, but it is a nice thing, as well as you can see corpses. It also has the ability to sniff out explorer notes, so you can see the explorer notes wherever you're going, and then you can pick them up, which is a really nice ability. Even though I don't really use it that much, but I still think it's pretty cool. And after the Direwolf, we have the Raptor. This is another iconic creature in the game that has had a huge improvement over time. And as you can see, the comparisons here, the face is a lot more refined. The old one looks kind of derpy, and overall the improvements are really good. They added a lot more feathers as well. I know I've said that for like pretty much every single one, that the improvements are good, but so I don't know why I'm saying that every single time. But as well as the new model, it had some new abilities. I think it only had one, which was the pounce ability. You could basically pounce on small creatures and then like kill them. And for a while, this was actually would pounce on players in the wild, and it was so annoying, and they removed it finally. That was like a few years ago, but for the longest time they could pounce on you, which was absolutely horrible, and they would just pounce on you and you couldn't do anything, which is so annoying. So I'm glad they took that out. And then we have another big one, which is the Spino. The Spino has had quite the improvement as well. So you can see the model changes. I don't think they're as extreme and noticeable, even though the new one does look better. I think the other ones are definitely a more noticeable change to them, but the abilities are what changed it the most. Before, it could only walk on 4 legs, but now it has the ability to change its stance from 4 leg to 2 leg. Now 4 leg you walk faster, but on 2 leg it does more damage, but you walk slower. They also added the hydration buff, which gives it a bunch of different buffs, as you can see right here, which is extremely useful. Next, I believe, was the first creature to ever get a TLC update, and it wasn't actually in one of the 3 main TLC updates, which was all the other creatures. As you can see right here is the Sabertooth. And the only picture I have is not a comparison, but it's a really blurry screenshot, so I'm sorry about that, but it's really hard to find pictures of this thing. But the old one does not look as good. The Sabertooth did not get any new abilities. All it got was the change in looks, but I think the change in looks was definitely an improvement. This next one is one of the more recent ones, coming in TLC 3. The TLC 3 only had 2 creatures in it, one of them being the Mammoth. And the Mammoth definitely, I think, had the biggest improvement in terms of looks. It looks absolutely terrible before, and in this picture it looks even worse, because this was before like fur and stuff was added, so you can see it's gotten quite the glow up. But not just a glow up, it's also got a bunch of new abilities. Now it can do a stomp attack, as well as it can pick animals up and throw them with its trunk, as well as the saddle works as a drum set, which turns it basically buffs everything around it in a radius. It also has the ability to roar and buff dinos around it. And then next on the list we have the Trike. The Trike also had an improvement, and then the model looks way better. As you can see on the right is the old one at the top there. And it definitely looks a lot better, and it's got, I don't know how to describe what I'm looking at on the right, it's got like a bunch of weird stuff on its head that was taken out, and it looks a lot better now. It also has a new ability where it can charge attack, and basically charge and then do like a ram forward and then keep running and attack stuff, as well as it gets a rivalry buff when it's in the presence of big carnivores like a T-Rex and stuff, which gives it a damage boost, and I'm pretty sure resistance as well. So overall it's got some pretty good buffs. This next one I would definitely consider the most game-changing of all the TLC updates, which is the RG. The RG got a huge new model, which kind of makes it look more like a Vulture, which I think was probably the biggest change when it came to the looks, as well as the main ability is it can give a huge weight reduction on all kinds of materials like metal and obsidian, as well as a bunch of other stuff. This already makes it good, considering before it was already really good at stamina and weight. So just these added bonuses made it so much better, and now it's pretty much the go-to flyer, as well as it now has the ability to pick up stuff in its mouth. Before it could pick up stuff with its talons. Also in the TLC update they made it to where it could pick up bigger stuff as well. It could pick up stuff like Parasaurs and Ankies, which I'm pretty sure it couldn't do that before. This is another creature that was in the TLC 3 update, which was the last TLC 3 update and most recent one, and it was the Stevego. Stevego definitely had quite the improvement with its looks, and it's insanely detailed. Honestly, might be one of the most detailed of the new creature TLCs. And it had a bunch of abilities. Basically, now it had like armor plate settings, so you can change the plates and it would do different things. The first one was the hardened plates, which would basically reduce damage, incoming damage. Then there's the heavy plates, which would basically slow down enemies when you attack them. And then the sharper plates, which would do like armor penetration. As well as you can like stick stuff with the tail and like basically impale it like this. And it's a very interesting ability. And then we have the Parasaur. Now the Parasaur is actually one of the few ones that barely had any changes, and it might not have had any changes when it comes to looks. They basically just added abilities to it. First it had this like scout ability where you can basically like send out a signal and it would detect enemies. And then after that you could basically do a roar that would scare away small creatures like raptors and stuff attacking you, which is very useful for scaring off those creatures. And lastly, we had the Sarco. The Sarco had an improvement in the model, and it honestly looks like they made it a little bit bigger too, which is a kind of nice bonus. And it looks pretty good as well. As well as it had a new ability where you can do a barrel roll type thing, or a death roll, and then you can grab the thing that you're trying to death roll and then like put it in your mouth and claw it. So that's a pretty cool ability. So that is going to be it for this video. That is all of the creatures in Ark that have had a TLC update. Let me know which creatures you think had the best TLC update, as well as which creature you think they should do a TLC 4 update next. I'm not sure if they're going to do another TLC update, but I think they should. And I might make a video on what creatures I think should have a TLC update, because I haven't made one of those videos in quite a while. And I think it could be interesting, because there's a lot of ideas. But that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching, and bye.